Hello, everyone. Happy Mondays. It's a different day today because yesterday I was actually out, and also our guest was out yesterday as well, so we couldn't do it yesterday. But anyway, so happy Mondays. It's now just 1 minute till 2 o'clock. I thought we'll start now because we're both ready, and it's 10 o'clock in Manila. I hope some of you, my dear friends, are still up and joining us live. So, welcome to another episode of Ask the Drummer. Today's guest, I've got to say, I mean, they are regarded as Corn's finest. But I found out that it's not actually from Corn. But I was supposed to go and see them last year, but unfortunately, I couldn't do it. It's not my fault. I mean, I really wanted to go and see them, but there was a train strike, and we have to support the union and all those strikes anyway. So yeah, hopefully I will get to see them this year. Fingers crossed. But for now, I'm so happy that he's here today. So my dear friends, please welcome Nian Brindle.
Hey, how you doing,
Hey!
Anna? You all right?
How are you? How are you,
I'm
Nian?
very, very good, thanks. Very good. We've got nice blue skies here in Lancaster.
Oh,
Uh,
that's
the
brilliant. Yeah.
daffodils are out. The days are getting longer, so life's good.
Yeah, it's springtime now, but it's
Yeah,
still cold though. I
it
mean,
is
it's
still
like,
cold. It is
yeah.
still cold, but I don't mind that. If the days are getting longer, I'm happy. Uh,
Oh,
as I've got older, I've struggled with winter more and more. It's the darkness, but yeah,
yeah.
we're light at the end of the tunnel now in March.
Yeah, it's still not t-shirt weather though, because I
No, it's
still
not.
feel cold.
Where are you? Where are you based? Where are you
In
at the moment,
Stockport,
Anna?
I'm in Stockport, so
Okay, okay.
yeah.
So yeah, we've got the same weather.
Yeah. I mean, we had I think a couple of weeks ago there was like it's getting warmer and warmer, and then last week it started getting cold again. I'm like,
I know, I know.
gosh.
Well, believe it or not, my son said to me the other day. I said, "What are you doing?" He's 18. He said, "Oh, me and all my friends are going camping." This was Friday night. I was like,
Oh no
"Camping?"
way.
I was like, "Finn, it's -2 in the evening in the Lake District. You're insane, you know." The people make that mistake, don't they? At Easter, the weather gets good, and they
Yeah,
start going outside, they start doing things outside, start going camping, and the
yeah.
evening comes, and the temperature plummets, and yeah, it's not good.
And then they realize it's not a good idea after all. So
Exactly,
like,
exactly.
but anyway, so I'm glad you're here. Welcome to Ask the Drummer.
Nice to be here.
Episode.
Thank you for asking me.
Oh no, thank you so much for saying yes. Episode 116 is all about you, Nian Brindle. First of all, Nian, that's a really nice name. It's unusual. It's not a nickname though. It is your full name, Nian.
It is my full name, and it is. It's quite an original name. I've not met anyone else called Nian,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
uh, it's a made up name actually. I had very young parents, and I was born in 1969, and they were young hippies, and they decided my mum's called Nina and my dad's called Ian, and half of each
Oh,
name makes Nian. So yeah, that's where it comes from.
oh wow. Yeah, because it's almost like Ian with an N. So it was
That's
like,
you know what
yes, Nina
people
and
get it
Ian.
wrong. People get it wrong, and that's how I describe it to them. I say it's Ian with an N. So
Yeah,
you hit the nail on the head there.
yeah. Well, actually, when I was pregnant, I wanted to do the same thing for my daughter
Yeah,
because my husband is called Aiden and I'm Anna. And I
yeah.
thought we were gonna call her Aidana, but then
Hey,
we've decided against it. It was like, no
oh,
way.
you should have done it. You should have done it.
But anyways, that's a really nice name. And I'm
Thank you.
also I was born in 1969, so it's the same year.
Ah,
So
okay, good year. Yeah, good
yeah.
year.
So where are the Brindles from? You said, are you originally from Lancaster, or did you just
Yeah,
move?
I was born in Lancaster, and yeah, I lived here till I went away to college, university at Manchester,
Yeah.
and then lived in various places around the world, and then came back here about 18 years ago, 19 years ago, and
Oh,
it's nice to be back in the north of England. I like it. Very
Yeah,
happy, very happy. It's a good city, actually, Lancaster. It's there's you're close to the Lake District. You're not far from Manchester and Liverpool. Uh,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's a nice place to live. It's lovely.
I think I think I have been once, but that's a long time ago. I can't remember now. But
People pass through it on the train. It's on the West Coast Main Line. So if you're going to
yeah.
Scotland on the train, you've probably been through it quite a lot. Or you've
Oh,
probably driven through it on the M6 as well.
yeah, yeah. Oh, no, the university. I think it's Lancaster University. The megabus stops there, I think, or
That's right.
National Express on
That's
there.
right. Yeah. And yeah, it's the university is a big plus, actually. It gives it,
Yeah,
I probably couldn't live here if the university wasn't here. But the university gives it, a bit of cultural diversity, and
yeah, yeah.
it's good. Great place to live.
Oh, well, Aiden said that picture and audio excellent. So, yeah, well, Aiden is actually my tech support, and he's my husband.
Oh, okay.
So I said Adele is nicer because we called her Adele instead of Adana. So he
Okay.
said that's nicer. But anyways, yeah. So um, Lancaster, I actually Googled it yesterday for famous people, and I just realized I only found out last night. John Waite, he's from Lancaster.
He is
Um,
former singer with the Babies, and he's
yeah,
famous US #1, Missing You. Yeah, he
yeah,
he
yeah.
actually grew up across the road from where my mum grew up, actually. And
Oh,
yeah, there aren't many famous people that came from Lancaster, but
yeah.
he's one, definitely. Yeah,
Well, I've always thought he was American. I didn't realize that he's actually British.
yeah, he is. Yeah, he was actually back here a few weeks ago. I think it was in the local paper.
Oh, really?
Popstar
Wow.
returns. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love John Wade. I mean, missing you, and also when he was in Bad English as well.
Yeah,
When
exactly.
I
Yeah,
see
so he had
it.
two #1s actually, didn't he, in America? Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
well for himself, the lad. Good for him.
yeah. So he's not. He doesn't live there anymore. He's actually in.
No, he doesn't. No, probably
So
living it up in LA or New York somewhere.
yeah, yeah. So you mentioned earlier that your parents were sort of like hippie-ish or something. But
They
were
were
they
just young,
musical?
they were just young people in 1969, really. Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's. I mean, that's probably where I got a lot of my musical influences from them, actually. So it was a very good, positive thing.
yeah, yeah. So you're from a musical family, or
They
did
didn't
they
play
like?
instruments, but they listened to a lot of music. I was always around that whole sort of, Bob Dylan, Beatles, Birdsey sound growing up. And,
Yeah, yeah,
it gets into you. If it's there around you enough, it gets into you.
yeah.
And I mean, Bob Dylan was probably who they listened to the most. And I've got to say, I heard it so much growing up that initially, till I was about 14, I didn't like it at all. It just wasn't for me. And then I remember distinctly not liking it. And then I remember walking to school one day, and one of the guys in one of the dorms there at school was playing a song, and I heard this song, and I was like, I know that song. Where do I know that song from? And I thought, I like that song. And it was "Changing of the Guards" by Bob Dylan.
Yeah, yeah.
And I realized, I thought, oh my God, it's Bob Dylan. I was thinking, I love that song. I went home from school that day, pulled out my mum and dad's vinyl, started playing it, and then that was it. From then on, I was just, I was on a path of listening to him,
Yeah.
pretty much every day for the rest of my life.
Well, it's always so like I always find it funny every time I hear people because of course I've known about Bob Dylan, but it's just there's something about his voice that I'm not really too keen
No,
about. But
no, it's a thing with him. He's got. People call it it's a Marmitey thing, isn't it? You either love it or you hate it, and you sort of. For me, it's just it's just something that I really really like, and
yeah, yeah.
there's so
But
many
the
different aspects
songs,
of it. Yeah, the songs. I
yeah,
mean,
his songs are amazing though, and when it's covered by other people,
you like it when it's covered by
I
other
love
people.
it because there was one time I was on the radio, Mike Sweeney's radio show, and
Yeah.
because he's doing this sort of like original versus cover version, and I was on it. I was talking about Bob Dylan, but it's the Guns N' Roses song of the Guns N' Roses version of
Knocking on
"Knocking on
Heaven's Door.
Heaven's Door,"
Yeah.
and I was saying that I just thought Bob Dylan's version was a bit bland.
Blasphemy.
Yeah, no, but yeah, but and then also this Echo and the Bunnymen as well. So like Baby Blue or something. It's all over now, Baby Blue. I mean, it's hit their version was better, a lot better than than Bob Dylan's. But I think I've actually managed to find a song that I really liked. It's called Any Day Now. It's like Any Day Now. Oh no, I'll be released. I shall be
I should
released.
be released. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
a brilliant song.
yeah.
And I thought the one that I was sort of like listening to that I really liked was Bob Dylan, but apparently it was the band.
It's the band's version. Yeah, okay. Anything but Bob's voice.
But anyway, so enough of Bob Dylan. So, did you try? Did you learn any other instrument apart from the drums, or were you drawn to the drums straight away?
Yeah, I mean, I was initially the drums were the instrument that I was attracted to first. I mean, I've subsequently learned how to play basic acoustic guitar, which is just for my own pleasure. As a Friday night, I'll sit here and I'll tinker away playing, tracks that I like playing. But no, it was always drums for me. It's a really sort of just a strange attraction from a very early age.
Yeah,
Like you're at primary school and you get those musical boxes that they bring out for the school kids, and there's always a
yeah.
drum in there, and I always wanted the drum. I was always sort of fighting to get hold of the drum, and that's from age 5, and then it was classic your mum's knitting needles on cushions, and uh, there was just something that I loved about the way drums looked. They had this sort of thing that caught my eye. Obviously, some people get attracted to the guitar. Some people want to be up front, jumping around. But I always wanted to be a drummer, right? From an early age. And
Yeah,
I was very lucky that I had quite a good musical upbringing in terms of being exposed to good music. And I think when you get into something so much, like in the way that I got into music, I'm one of those people that I'm not just happy listening to it. I want to sort of actually do it.
do it. Yeah,
Whichever level. I don't. It didn't matter which level it got to. I just wanted to actually play. So at school, I met a good friend, James, who's a very good guitarist, and we did the old classic. Started a school band, and then that band, which was me, Matthew, and James, actually became
yeah.
three-fifths of the Milltown brothers. So yeah, it started early on, sort of 14, 15, really. But
Yeah. Did you have proper drumming lessons though, or
I
were you
never
just
had. I've never had any lessons actually. No, I was completely self-taught, which probably shows. But no, it was one of those things. I was a bit scarred by music lessons because when I was at primary school, I went for some clarinet lessons, and I was really quite excited about playing the clarinet. Because they
Yeah,
asked me at school, who wants to play, who wants to do this, who wants to play, and so I put my hand up. Yeah, I'll do clarinet. And I was really looking forward to it. And the lessons were just horrendous. They were really probably everything you shouldn't do with a child, to sort of attract them to playing a musical instrument. It was just all crotchets and quavers. And, I just wanted to have a good player to teach me how to blow the instrument. But that never happened. So I was put off by that. So when I got into the drums, I was just, I'm gonna do this myself. So it was literally when I eventually got a drum kit at home, which took a long
yeah.
time. I remember I got eventually persuaded my mum and dad to get me one for Christmas, and
All right.
uh, literally headphones on, just playing along to songs until you got the basics. And there was a great program actually on the TV back then called Rock School, which was they would sort of go around each instrument and they
Yeah.
talk about how to play each instrument. So they show you a bit of bass, they show you a bit of guitar, they show you a bit of drums. So I was like, laser
What to
focused
say?
on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
drum side of it and buying books. I mean, there's no internet then. So we're talking 1982, 83. No
yeah,
internet. So you literally had to do it through books, listening, watching. And I remember just being absolutely obsessed to the point, if there's a drummer on TV, doing anything. It didn't matter what type of music. It would be, just focus.
Yeah,
What's he
yeah.
doing? How's he doing that? And then just trying to figure it out yourself. So
Well, you
I think
must be
I'm
sort of like,
quite proud of the fact that I'm self-taught. I think it makes you
yeah,
play in a certain way. I haven't got all the rudiments. I haven't got all the technical side of things, but that makes you play in a certain way. So yeah, I'm quite proud of that thing.
yeah, you must be sort of like, because your age, that's the time when you're sort of like watching Top of the Pops all the time, and
Yeah.
you're always sort of like, is there a particular moment in Top of the Pops where you actually sort of like seeing the drummer and it's like, oh my god, he's awesome, and or is it just anybody playing the drum?
Well, that triggered me. I think the moment when I decided that I was gonna actually try and do it properly, because I was into lots of different things when I was a teenager. I was the
Yeah.
classic sort of. I was really what I was into playing football. I was obsessed with football.
Oh, right.
I was going to play for Liverpool FC, whatever happened, and it was
Oh,
just
wow.
that was like no, that was in my head. That's what I was going to do.
Oh,
I didn't have the ability to do it, but that's what I was going to do. I was going to try. I was also into music as well, and it was sort of they don't quite fit together really, music and sport like that. But and then I actually went to see in Lancaster. There aren't that many venues in Lancaster, but with it being a university town,
Mm.
there's there was a guy called Barry Lucas here in Lancaster who used to get through the 70s and 80s really great bands to play at the Great Hall in
Oh,
Lancaster.
right.
They had everyone through
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
like Pink Floyd, U2, Blondie, just,
Oh,
a
wow.
really good little scene up there.
Yeah,
So everyone who
yeah.
was touring on the circuit basically played at Lancaster University. And so I saw my first ever live band there. And the third band that I saw live was a band who you mentioned earlier called Echo and the Bunnymen, who were on tour with their album in '84. It was Ocean Rain,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
just absolutely blew me away. And I remember just standing there because I already had the album Porcupine, and I'd bought Ocean Rain. I'd been so excited about going to see them play, and it was just different to anything I'd seen before. They were backlit. It was dark. It was moody. It was a bit discordant. There was just something really special about it that just hit me. And I remember standing there thinking, I'm going to do that. I'm going to have a go at that. And it was a definite sort of moment where I decided I was going to have a go at playing the drums and try
Yeah.
and be a band.
And that was Pete the Freitas, wasn't it? It was sort of
Peter
like
Curtis,
playing.
yeah. So
Yeah.
he's, that album, those two albums initially, Porcupine and Ocean Rain, were the
And
two
Ocean
that I
Rain.
sort of played along to the most. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's up there in my sort of favorite drummers list. Sadly, no longer with us, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
No, I'm still the Bunnymen were sort of like, you have a band when you're a teenager between 14 and 18. They were my band that I was into, that I was obsessed with. Yeah.
All right. So you formed a band with the other two members of
We were at
Milltown.
school, yeah. We were at school, and
Yeah,
we sort of gravitated towards each other. That's what happens at that age, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
You sort of move towards people that have got similar interests, and I was very lucky that the people I moved towards were really great people, and
yeah,
who are still they're lifelong friends, still friends today, and at 14, 15, it was a really nice journey that started very early on,
yeah, yeah.
and we got going at school. We sort of, we were a band at school initially, the Milltown Brothers. We weren't called the Milltown Brothers then, but we went through a period of being very bad, like all bands do at the beginning, particularly school bands. And I mean, I think that's one of the defining things about bands that do eventually go on to do something, is that they're usually quite resilient, and you go through that period of being not very good. And
Yeah,
a lot of people generally give up at that point, but you've got to have some sort of internal belief about
yeah. You
uh,
have to carry on. And
what you want to do. Yeah, you play a lot of gigs to nobody, and you've got to go through that to get to where you want to get to. Yeah, so
yeah,
we
yeah,
enjoyed that band so much. We were quite young, 16, 17, but we were playing local pubs and clubs and things like that.
Yeah.
enjoyed it so much that we decided, right, let's all go to the same university. And so that's how we ended up going to
Oh,
uh,
Manchester.
Manchester Polytechnic.
Manchester.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we all got into just look for any course, right? What course can I go to there? Bang, there's no other thought than carrying on with the
There's
band.
a band. This is
Yeah,
all.
it's whatever. I was the last to get in actually. The
Yeah.
other lads all had courses sorted out, and
Oh, wow.
I managed to get in by the skin of my teeth. And yeah, there we were in Manchester, and we met Barney, Matthew's older brother Simon joined the band as well, and that's when the Milltown Brothers started.
Yeah. Well, where did the name come from, though? I know the Nelson brothers,
Yeah,
but
the two brothers in the band. They started doing some demos that summer before we went away to university. So that was separate to the school band that we had, and then obviously they were two brothers from
yeah.
Cole and Milltown,
Uh,
Milltown Brothers.
oh,
So yeah, not,
okay.
so that just kind of stuck. They'd sent some demos off to record labels, and
Yeah, yeah.
so the name became something that we might benefit from using because there'd been a bit of interest, and then the band it just stuck with the band from there, really.
Oh, okay. So, but everybody just sort of like said, yeah, okay, we'll use the name, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
fine with us. So,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
yeah, because I told you earlier before that Milltown Brothers are actually regarded as a Manchester band. I
Mm.
mean, of course, people say that Corn's finest, but it's a Manchester band because the original Manchester North of England compilation, I think it came out as a cassette tape, and then there's a
It did.
vinyl version of
Yeah,
it.
really great little cassette tape. You're right.
Yeah, yeah. You're part of that sort of like compilation album,
Yeah.
and but then they did a sort of like Cherry Red did a like an extended, like expanded version of it. It's a box set, so 7 CD box
Oh,
set of
okay.
Manchester North of England. But I was sort of like wondering how come they left out Milltown Brothers song, which is the original. Most of the originals are actually in there,
I
but
didn't
the
know
railway.
that actually. That's interesting. I didn't know that had come out again. Actually, okay, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. It was 2018, I think, when it came out. It's like a 7 CD box set, and it's called Manchester North of England.
Well, I'm surprised because I'm sure we would have said yes to letting Cherry Red do it because we do other stuff with Cherry Red actually. So it's interesting.
Yeah,
I'll find out from that. I don't know why that's not ended up on there.
yeah. Because I remember sort of like, because the Railway Children, which is more or less sort of like the same time as
They
sort of
were.
like,
Well, I remember that sort of scene when we first arrived, when we first got going in Manchester. There was the Waltones, Railway Children,
yeah,
Scarlet
yeah.
Carpets, Bradford. I think they were all on the original
That's
cassette, weren't
right.
they? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, we'd arrived. We started rehearsing when we started the band in Manchester. We were based in where were we at that point? It was between Didsbury and I think we were in Didsbury at that point. And our bass player James, he went into Strawberry Studios where you are actually in
yeah. Oh,
Stockport.
right, Stockport. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so he went in there and had a chat with Caroline, who was working there, and she liked the sort of tape that we took there. We had a little demo tape, and she invited us. She gave us some free time at
yeah, yeah.
Strawberry Studios recording, but the free time was 9 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Oh,
So it was the graveyard shift, because obviously the studio was busy during the day. So we'd go in there and we'd have to stay up all night recording. But it was great for us. I mean, we had, free studio time, which was amazing.
yeah.
In a really great studio.
And it's Strawberry, yeah, it's Strawberry Studios. It's
Strawberry
like,
Studios, yeah. And it was
yeah,
really funny because the Happy Mondays were recording during the day. And then we'd sort of come in at night at 9 o'clock. And one time we went in, and Martin Hannah, the producer, was asleep under the desk in there. We had to sort of like remove him, sort of like, excuse me, I'm here to record, Yeah, funny times. But then they were Strawberry really got behind us actually, and they set up a little independent label to release our first two singles.
yeah.
They set up Big Round Records, which was a label that Caroline herself ran, and that was a really, really beneficial to us actually at the time. Because I mean, when
Yeah.
you're early doors, you can't afford studio time like that, and to get the chance to. So actually, the track that was on the Manchester North of England cassette was recorded at
It's
Strawberry.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
Strawberry Studio, and I'm sure. So, like, I don't remember it now, but the 50th anniversary of Strawberry Studios, they had sort of like a celebration of it throughout the year. That's like the whole year,
They
and I
did, didn't they have an
remember.
exhibition in Stockport?
Yeah,
Somewhere? Yeah,
yeah,
I really wanted to go to it, but I didn't get to it. Didn't get a chance to get
yeah.
down there.
Because I remember Ian H from Bradford. He was there, and it was all like because I think they did also some recordings there at Strawberry Studios.
Yeah,
That was a good one. So you were born in 1987,
yeah.
and but in 1993 apparently. So you're doing really well at the time. In 1993, this is really yes. For me, I only found that out when I googled your name and Milton Brothers that you headlined a gig and the support were, I mean, Oasis. I think I've already known about that on Facebook, but the real people as well were one of the support.
Oh yeah, well you're right. Oasis did support us actually. We were sort of on the slide a little bit, and they were on the way up. But no, we played with the real people a lot. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We
yeah. So
played
what
in.
was
I remember we had a particularly wild weekend with them in Paris at the Locomotive Club in Paris. And I think that was the first time we played with them. But no, they're good lads. Really like those guys.
yeah? Well, I mean, they're still going,
I
like
know, I know.
yourself.
Yeah, I saw them playing the other day. Yeah, they played in Liverpool recently, didn't they? Was it in
Yeah,
December? Yeah.
yeah. Because I was all like thinking, oh my god, dude, that should be so like you should do the same thing again. So like do a gig with the real people in
No,
Milltown.
you're not the first person that said that. Actually, someone else has said that before. So yeah, maybe that's something we should explore. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah,
Similar sort of audience as well. I think. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we know that Oasis are no more. I don't know if
Yeah.
they're gonna get back together, but I think that would be one to look forward to. It's like a gig with Milltown Brothers and the real people. So
Yeah.
like,
It's quite
yeah,
interesting. Going back to you're talking about all those bands on Manchester North of England, like the Railway Children and the Waltones. So when we
yeah,
first arrived when we were first at university in Manchester, that's everybody looked like everyone was like a member of the Smiths, so everyone had quiffs, short cut hair, quiffs, 501s, Doc Martin shoes, shirts, and it was just
right,
a real look, and everyone that was in a band looked like that, and that was just there was nothing, and everyone was quite bookish, and then that all kind of changed literally overnight. I mean, I remember going to the Hacienda one night on someone's recommendation to see a band, and it was the Happy Mondays, and for the first time you saw what like football casuals with trainers on, cagoule tops, and guitars in the hand playing music, and it was like, whoa, that's great, and there they were playing this sort of like psychedelic, groovy sort of just great weird music, but
yeah,
seeing people dressed like that was the big thing that hit me at the time. It was like, wow, look, because they just looked like nothing else that had got up on stage before, and then everything seemed to just change overnight.
yeah,
Probably wasn't overnight, but then suddenly, lads were getting up on stage with guitars and playing music, and it was just a brilliant. Yeah.
yeah. I just want to say hello to Sean Kirkpatrick. Sean is in America, and he said, "Love your post." I think it's the Milltown Brothers post, but yeah, thank you for joining us, Sean. Also, Gavin Bongi, he said, "Make that happen, double header with the Milltowns and the real people." So you've got to sort of like get in touch with the Griffiths brothers and make that happen.
I've not seen them
um,
for a long time, actually. It'd be good to see them, actually. Yeah. No,
yeah,
good to see them.
yeah. Well, 1987, that time, the Smiths were already gone. So it's like new bands coming along and playing, playing in Manchester, but it must be a really exciting time. Manchester. I just wish every time. I just wish that like I was already living here because you mentioned the hacienda.
When
Because
when did you arrive into
I
Manchester?
was there 1996, which is
Oh,
like
okay, okay, yeah.
so the year after that, hacienda closed down for good. So I missed out big time. So can you just
Well, we
tell
missed. I
me?
missed it. We missed it big time as well because
Oh,
we
yeah.
no, we were living in Manchester, but we were going to the Hacienda on a Thursday night, and that was the indie night. So we were sort of like that was our thing because we were obviously a guitar band, and
Yeah.
unbeknown to us, on Friday and Saturday night there was this huge cultural revolution happening that we were missing. I found out later on, but yeah, no, it was good. It was good.
So you didn't go to all these like
Didn't go to
the
the race, didn't go.
older.
No, just missed the whole acid house thing. It was just we were just yeah into our guitar music really.
But can you tell us all like a bit more about the atmosphere? Because also, towards the end of the 80s, like the Stone Roses and then Manchester and all
Yeah,
that. So,
but it's
um,
fantastic.
so you were in that area. You were in
We
Manchester.
were
But
we were
it was like,
associated with that,
yeah,
rightly or wrongly. We weren't necessarily of that ilk, really. I mean, I think it was such a big thing that was happening with the Stone Roses and Happy Mondays at the time that
yeah,
everything kind of. So what happened was you had guitar bands, and then that was fused with that sort of groove, and that did infect the way you were actually approaching songwriting and the way you were putting songs together. Because when you're young, you're just in there, aren't you? You're out listening to music, you're going to club nights, so everything that you're hearing sort of does, just purely by osmosis, get into your own music. And so we were initially more of a sort of folk rock, REM, Waterboys, you
yeah,
know, garage. You were more of a sort of American garage band. That was more of our thing. But acoustic guitars as well. And then just because you were around that thing so much, we always had a Hammond organ player in our band. That was always there, and that came to the fore a little bit more. The beats got a little bit groovier, but it was still the sort of
yeah,
same sort of songwriting. So that's just the way it goes, isn't it? You're influenced by things, and you sort of tip your hat towards them. And to be
yeah,
fair, it was a good thing to do because that led to us getting signed, and uh,
yeah.
that next phase of the band.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm going to say this because I don't know, I can't really say for every Filipino music fan, but I don't think Milltown Brothers actually reached us in the Philippines. I could be wrong, but it's the same with the Real People because 1989 I was already living in the Middle East,
Yeah,
and I didn't really get to hear of the Real People or Milltown Brothers until I actually got here,
yeah,
in the
okay.
UK. So, but it's strange that other bands like the Railway Children, they were massive. They were massive in the Philippines.
Really, I wonder how that's
Yeah,
happened. That's interesting. Yeah, it's just
yeah,
you can't put a finger on why these things happen sometimes.
yeah,
It's sliding doors moments, isn't it? Where one
yeah,
little thing can trigger something. I mean,
yeah,
I after the Milltown Brothers, I got into management and managing bands, and I managed a band called the Heartbreaks, who are from up close to here
yeah,
in Morecambe, and they really sort of struggled in the UK here, but huge in Japan. And it's just one of those you never know why something takes off in one particular territory. You
yeah.
could just have one good break somewhere, and that can lead to something. So yeah, no, it's interesting.
Yeah, that is true. I'm glad that you mentioned it because a friend of mine, Dixie, and he actually said that ask Nian about the heartbreaks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
So you became a manager. So when did Milton Brothers stop playing?
Well, we did. We stopped playing, then we started playing again. So it's always been there. We just went
Yeah,
in a way. We were a bit. we had all these great times, and then we sort of stopped playing for a while in 93, 94. All went off
Yeah.
and did different things. And
And that's when you started managing the
no,
heart.
well, actually, for 7 years, I was involved in a completely different industry. My ex-partner was a fashion designer, clothing designer, and I ended up
Oh,
working in that industry for a while,
yeah, yeah,
just because it kept me traveling and kept me moving about. It was nothing I was particularly interested in,
yeah,
anything but it kept me sort of traveling about. And I think after that period ended, I decided I was in London for 10 years, and I'd actually decided I was going to move back up to Lancaster because I'd met my current wife Jo, and we were going to move to Lancaster, settle down here. And then I got a call from an old friend of mine called Ciro Romano, who had been a music lawyer at Universal, and he was setting up his own management company. And
yeah,
he'd managed actually briefly an incarnation of the Milltown brothers. And anyway, long story short, he asked me to come and work for his company
yeah,
in London. So yeah, I ended up involved in management then, and it was a really interesting time actually. We managed one particular act called Hal from Dublin, and they were signed to Rough Trade on the record side and signed to Heavenly on the publishing side. Just a really fantastic band. It never quite happened for them, but just a great experience going through that whole journey with them.
yeah, yeah,
Just meeting
yeah,
a lot of great people at the time. Yeah, it's really good.
yeah. I think I know that. Is it HAL?
HAL, yeah, yeah.
And they released sort of like several singles, right? They sort of
Well,
like
the album came out on Rough Trade in 2004, and I mean Dave Allen, who's their songwriter. I mean, he's just in your musical journey. You sort of meet every now and then. You meet a real genius, and he was someone that just an absolute genius. A really,
yeah,
really
yeah,
talented writer.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, that was just a lovely experience, a really great experience. So then, yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, so your experience of like managing a band and being in a band, what would you say is so now that you're sort of like back together again, are you doing sort of like part-time managing and sort of like
With the Milltown brothers, well, no, a little bit actually, yeah. So we are back together doing things. So we all have different roles in there. Simon is probably taking on more of the sort of managerial side of
Oh,
things. I mean,
okay,
I get
yeah,
involved. I mean, we're all there making the decisions and things. But
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
it's
Well, Aiden said he's got a student from Burma who's called Nian or Nian. It's NY, and not
oh,
NIAN.
okay, yeah,
NY.
close,
Yeah. So
close.
yeah, that's close. Right. So the logo from Milltown Brothers. I think that one here, that man.
Yeah, the man.
That's
He's called
really
Stan.
nice.
He's called Stanley.
That's a really nice logo.
Do you recognise him from anywhere?
No.
He's from.
Oh no, it's like on the single. It's one
Yeah,
of
but
the
he's actually from an L.S. Lowry painting
Oh
that,
yeah, of course, yeah, yeah.
that we used as
Um,
our front cover for the first single called Roses, and we used a picture of Lowry's called Coming from the Mill. And Stan's one of the little guys. We had to go and get permission to use it,
to
obviously.
use it, yeah.
Stan's
Did you
one of
have
the
to pay a
little
lot?
guys off that.
Did you
Yeah.
have to pay a lot of money for it, or did you just?
No, they're really kind actually. They're really nice. They just let us do it.
Also, so like I found out that Here I Stand, it actually like reached unfortunately only 41. So you weren't able to go on top of the pops. Was there even so you didn't go on top of the pops at all? Or
Well, that was one of those sliding doors moments actually, because Here I Stand was the third single from the album Slinky.
yeah,
The first two singles had done pretty well. The first single was a song called Which Way Should I Jump?
yeah, yeah.
I think that charted at 38, and Apple Green similar. But the big song they're all the label were getting behind was Here I Stand. And I think we had a midweek of 23 on it. So
Oh,
we were booked to do Top of the Pops.
yeah,
Then, unfortunately, Gallup weighted us out of the charts. And we'd sold enough singles to be 23, but they weighted us out of the charts to 41 on account of the fact that we had too many sales in the north, and they weren't spread around the country, which is, you know,
Is that?
that's harsh. You know, we still sold those songs. So yeah, that was unfortunate actually. So yeah, it didn't get into the charts, and then because it didn't go into the charts, we then didn't get to do Top of the Pops, which was a shame.
Oh, it's a shame.
But we did do Wogan. We played on Terry Wogan's show, and we did some interesting TV stuff. But no, Top of the
Oh,
Pops would have had a you know, because if you appear on there, your single always goes up, basically.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it was an unfortunate moment. But
Yeah, well,
these things happen.
talking about the charts, because I do miss Top of the Pops. Because when I got here, I like watching it, and even when I was in the Middle East, I used to watch on VHS tapes because it's been recorded, and then we'll sort of like watch it there. But so I do miss it, and today I was sort of like posted something about the Heritage Chart. I don't know if you've heard of it, but
No.
Mike Reed, Mike Reed, he's
Mike Reed, the DJ, the radio DJ. Okay.
Yeah. He started this. I think it's now 2 years. It's sort of like running for 2 years now. It's called the Heritage Chart, but it's sort of like really strange because it's not just all new releases, but even like old songs and stuff. So I was sort of like thinking. So you've not heard of it? You've
No,
not
I haven't.
heard
No.
of that one?
No.
Because it might be something that maybe Milltown Brothers can be part of that sort, like the Heritage Chart, or maybe you wouldn't want to be part of it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'll have to check that out and decide if I want to be part of it or if we want to be part of it.
Yeah, because
Would you
at the
recommend?
moment, pardon?
Would you recommend? I honestly don't know anything
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, I do. I do
know.
like it, and actually, I've just sort of like said that it's got this added coolness from Pete Paphitis because he's talked about it,
Okay.
and Sean from Smash Hits because I used to buy lots of Smash Hits when I was living in the Middle East, and I love those things, and I'm really a big fan of charts and things like that. So they've started talking about it. So I think
are they still as important now? The chart. I mean, I'm a bit out of the loop on things now, but they used to be. I mean, when we were growing up, like the top 40 was.
Yeah.
You'd sit there listening to the whole thing on a Sunday.
That's right.
The countdown, and
that's
why it was a real moment actually being in the top 40. That was something to savor, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I just don't know if people pay as much attention to charts these days.
Maybe not anymore. But it's just sort of like good to sort of like have this kind of thing. And also, I was saying it's great that actually music fans can vote because you don't have to sort of like buy a physical copy of these or like so. There's no money involved. You just go online onto the Heritage Chart and then you vote whatever songs you listen to the song.
Oh, okay. Right. So I could go on and vote for us constantly.
Yeah. So I'm sort of like hoping
that sounds good.
If Mike Reed plays the Milltown Brothers song, and then we can just sort of like all vote for this song, and we'll get to number one.
Happy days.
Happy days. Yeah. So now you're back. You're playing again, and you're doing loads of gigs, and which started like last year. But I remember in 2015. There's in Manchester there's the gigantic indie opera.
Yeah.
And I've looked at the this is how clueless I was in those days. I mean, now I try to sort like make sure that I know about all the gigs and everything. I was actually at that gig. I was in the
watch Echo and the Bunnymen because the Bunnymen were playing that gig as well. Yeah.
I just stayed in the main hall because I didn't realize that.
So Manchester 2, Academy 2, there were things going on back there, Anna, as well.
I know. I didn't realize because I thought everybody would just sort of like play in the main hall.
Yeah.
Because
I wonder,
and
wonder
then
what happened to that festival actually, because it was a really good little setup. That I liked that.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think that was the last one they did.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah,
We
and
killed it off.
also
Brilliant.
because I remember so like the wooden tops were, and when I saw the poster, there's the wooden tops there and Bob. I mean, I didn't realize that Bob also played there, but I just thought they're all gonna be in the one room. But of course it didn't. So I only managed to see whoever played in that main
In the
hall.
main room, yeah.
I
Which
couldn't
was
even
Academy
inspire.
One, wasn't it? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it was all
right.
between Academy 1 and 2, wasn't it? Yeah, it's good that I
Yeah,
remember that. It was a good gig.
yeah. And it's great value for money because it was only like £29 for all of that, like
Yeah.
all day. So sorry about that I missed
No, don't worry.
Milltown Brothers
You said in
again.
the intro, you said you couldn't get to a gig because of the train
Yeah,
strike. Was that the Hebden Bridge one?
the Hampton Bridge one. I
Yeah.
was so looking forward to that one. So I finally got a ticket. I was really excited about it, but it was on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And then a few days before the gig, I got an email and I found out that there's a train strike.
Yeah. There
So,
was, yeah, that's right.
yeah. And unfortunately, on that Saturday, normally my husband will sort of like just take me to have the bridge, so we'll go there. But on that particular day, he was in Dublin.
Oh, okay. So you can say what
And I
I
don't drive. And
Right.
it was sort of like I tried to sort of like look for ways to get to Hebden Bridge,
What a
but
shame.
yeah, but apart from the train, you can't actually get there
No.
by bus.
It's an interesting little place, actually, Hebden Bridge. I don't know if you've ever been before. Have you
Oh
been
yeah,
before?
yeah,
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 great
love it.
venue, the Trades Club. Really good. You missed a good
Yeah,
night, actually. It was really good. It was really
I
good.
know. I was really gutted, and I was in touch with Jonathan Bibby.
Oh,
Was
yeah.
is he
Oh, yeah. He
your?
helps us with our online stuff. Yeah, he's a good guy, John.
Yeah, he's not your manager, is he? Is he
No,
your?
he's kind of kept things going for us though, just by keeping things going. Him and Andy, a guy called Andy Devaney. The
Yeah,
band haven't really been doing very much, but they always kept the online presence alive. Because they were just really into the band. And they're
yeah,
both really, really great. I mean, the things that we're doing now wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for those two, because they
yeah,
just kept
yeah.
the fan base there and interested, so that when we decided to do some shows, people were still there and still buying tickets and things. So yeah, I mean, every
Yeah.
credit to them, every credit. I didn't realize that you knew them actually, but yeah, no.
Well, well, I finally got to meet him in Manchester when I went to Teenage Fan Club, so like album launch.
Oh,
He
okay.
was there, and then he sort of like came up to me and said that he introduced himself as Jonathan. I was like, oh my god, I'm really. And then I said that I'm really sorry that I missed the Hebden Bridge gig. It was just really gutted because the only option I had at the time, because I work on Saturdays,
Yeah.
so I had to go sort of like be there until 5 o'clock. The only option I had at the time was sharing a taxi with other fans, but I had to get from Chorlton, where I work, to I think it was Prestwich.
Right. Okay.
Which is just at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I
Yeah.
said, "There's no way it's going to happen." And then I have to find my way back home as well after the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
So I'm really sorry, but
No, don't worry. It's not your
yeah,
fault.
hopefully, hopefully this year. And I know that you're playing Rossendale,
Yes. I
and
think that is
I
that
googled,
May the 2nd.
yeah, 3rd of May, I think it
3rd of
was.
May. Yeah.
Yeah, and I googled where Rossendale.
I don't know where. Someone's gonna have to tell me where.
I think there is a bus that gets to Rossendale from Piccadilly, from Piccadilly
You just
Gardens.
like to keep people thinking on these venues.
Yeah, that's right. But I think the most likely for me to go and see you, unless you're gonna do more gigs, is the Lexington in London.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Because I have been there. I
There
saw
are
the
more
railway
gigs coming up, I think, actually. But no, the Lexington should be good. Is that November the 2nd?
November. That's the
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
November. So hopefully, hopefully I'll get to that one. Unless you sort of like have more. Hopefully there'll be Manchester gigs or Liverpool gigs or
I think
Leeds.
there probably will be at some point, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because there's quite a lot of things happening for Milltown Brothers in 2024, right?
Yeah,
And
well, it's all a bit unexpected, really. It's one of those where we weren't really planning anything and just ended up booking one show. No,
yeah,
actually, no, we got together because we're all friends. So we got together literally, I think it's for Simon's birthday, and we thought, well, why don't we have a rehearsal when we do get together? And we all enjoyed it. And old Father Time is marching on, and we thought,
yeah,
well, there's going to be less and less opportunities to play. Why don't we do a show? So we booked the Hebden Bridge show, and that sold out straight away, which was really nice. And then
yeah.
did another one in Lancaster at a place called Cantina.
Cantina, yeah, yeah,
A really
yeah,
great venue in Lancaster, and
yeah.
uh, again
Then
that sold out
Bar-
as well.
you also
So
did Barlick or Barnoldswick or Barlick now.
yeah, that was more of a private party thing for someone, but yeah,
Oh, I
it was a
see.
show. Yeah, so it was good. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a great venue. I went there recently, and I
Oh, okay.
thought,
So yeah,
wow,
small bijou, but
yeah,
it's good. You're right. Yeah.
yeah. It's not an easy place to get to, but the
No, I
venue
mean I
itself is
struggled.
absolutely amazing. Yeah. Yeah. And I also found out on Google when I was googling it that Slinky is sort like gonna be reissued on vinyl.
It is,
Is
yeah.
that
That's being sorted out at the moment. So yeah, we're hoping that'll come out again soon. So that's the sort of idea around doing some shows in November, actually. So we're looking into doing other
oh
shows around
right?
that release. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, yeah. So so you're looking at around November time when Slinky comes out.
Well, that's to be confirmed, but yeah, that's when we're booking the shows and working towards. So
Yeah,
there's a couple of things that we can't announce yet, but yeah,
right.
that should be around about November as well. So yeah, all
Yeah,
good.
but it's good to have like a social presence though, because I think nowadays it's very important, especially for fans, to see you online and to know what's like going on. Because we don't really have. I mean, I don't know. Maybe in the past you have like music magazines like Enemy or Record Mirror or something like that to find out what's the latest. With the bands, but nowadays, I mean, you do have posts. In is it the band themselves who actually do the posts, or is it Jonathan and
No, John and Andy do all that for us. So obviously they kind of have an idea of, we play quite a large part in what's posted, but
yeah,
they
yeah,
do it all for us, really. Yeah.
yeah. And I have to sort of like ask you because another one that I found out is you were in a band with the Nelson brothers called Milo.
That's right.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
this was so like in the 90s or so like
Mm.
2000s or
Well, we were all living in London at the time, and James and Barney weren't in London at that point, and we had a different bass player called Steve Taylor. And we just started rehearsing then, and we did some demos, and it nearly took off. Didn't quite happen, but it was a really nice period of music actually for us. Yeah, it was good.
yeah.
Good.
Is that so like short for Milltown?
No, it was just
Milo.
literally a separate name. Literally a separate name. We were a
Yeah.
bit quick actually when the first sort of edition of the Milltown Brothers ended in '93. We were a bit quick to sort of move on really because it was kind of like we basically left A&M, the record label, and we kind of disbanded shortly after that when really we should have kept going because Britpop was only around the corner. We're
Yeah.
talking 2 years away, and if we'd have just kept going for a little bit longer, there might have been space for us to sort of keep the fan base sort of motivated because a lot of the Britpop bands were influenced quite a lot by what had happened sort of 89, 90, 91.
Yeah.
So that's one regret actually that we sort of kind of knocked it on the head a little bit too soon. We should have sort of stuck it out for a little bit longer, but you know we've stayed there. We've still kept doing things.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, you're still doing it now. So no,
I'm
I was always
still
thinking.
doing it.
No, I was sort of like saying because Milo in the Philippines is like a drink.
Is it
It's a
right?
chocolate.
Okay.
It's a
What
chocolate
sort of
drink.
drink? What
It's
sort
a
of drink?
chocolate drink.
A
I don't know if you
chocolate
know
drink.
Ovaltine or Horlicks,
Is that
but
Milo spelled Mylo or
no, it's
Milo?
Milo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the same as that. So I was sort of like thinking, because I mean, you traveled, you traveled when you were in Milltown Brothers. I mean, you did
Oh, we
sort of like,
did. Yeah, we toured. We
yeah,
toured all over. We toured America twice. We went around America with the Wonder Stuff once, which was really good. That was a lot of fun.
yeah,
That was a long tour, 6 week tour. Went everywhere. We played in Japan. Had a great tour out there. We did Osaka and Nagoya and 3 nights in Tokyo there, and yeah, all around Europe. Really well traveled. You know, it was a great time actually. It was a really good
yeah.
time. You
Well,
know.
talking about the Wonder Stuff, I mean, what about Shine On? Has anyone so like? Have you heard of the Shine On Music
Yeah, we
Festival?
played there before. We played there in 2016,
Oh,
and we
that's because yeah,
we
because I
might be
started.
playing there again soon.
Oh, I hope so. Because I didn't actually start going to Shine On until 2017,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
regret not going in 2016 because the Railway Children played in
they were
2016.
actually. Yeah, they were.
So
Yeah,
you also played that year.
yeah. We played in 2016, I think it was. Yeah, yeah. And
Oh wow.
hopefully, it looks like we might be doing it again very soon. So we'll see.
Oh God,
Yeah.
that would be really really good because I go there every year now.
Oh, brilliant. Well, we can meet up there and have a drink then. That'd be good.
Yeah, I love Shine On. I think it's one of, it's the best sort of like
It
music
is. It's
festival.
good. It's really good. Yeah, James, who puts it together, is a good guy, and he does a really good job with it. Definitely.
Yeah, yeah, I like it because I can't do camping things. I can't sort of like
So you
do.
don't go to Glastonbury then?
No, 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 not those festivals, but Shine On,
Oh, you've
where
got
you
to
have
go to
your own.
Glastonbury. You've got to try Glastonbury at least once.
Well, not now. I'm too old for that.
Take a camper van. Take a camper van.
Well, yeah, or maybe. So, right. So, the lots of news, exciting news, as far as Milton Brothers so like is concerned, gigs and reissue, slinky reissue and everything. So when you're not, because you mentioned before that you're doing so this fashion label, I also saw that on Google actually, but it was like an old article. It was like
That
a
was a long time. Yeah,
1998,
that was
yeah,
between 94.
98, I think. I was like,
Yeah, 94 and 2000 we were doing that. Yeah.
so you
No,
don't do that. You're not
no, I
into
don't do that anymore. No, no. But that was an interesting time. I really enjoyed it actually. It's a really interesting time. It was like not my world. It was more to do with my partner's love. That was
all
her
right.
passion. And I sort of got involved doing production and various pieces behind that. Then we set up our own label, and it did really well. Actually, it did really good. It was a
Yeah,
good experience, and yeah,
yeah, and
great. Just a different world, different people in the fashion industry. Not
yeah,
quite.
and
Yeah,
apparently you saw like supplied clothes for Kylie Minogue as well. And
yeah, Madonna as well, and Madonna. Lots of different people. Madonna.
oh,
So yeah, it's interesting actually. For me,
yeah,
it was a means to an end for me. Sort of kept me. I was so used to traveling with the band, and I've got and I love traveling. And I love being in different places. I love meeting new people. And
yeah,
when
yeah,
we stopped doing it with the band, that was kind of like uh, an opportunity to do something with the same amount of traveling because we were in America a lot, and
yeah,
it was just one of those sort of another of those swerving the 9 to 5 job and just keep things interesting.
yeah. But now, when you're not drumming, I mean, you're not gigging and everything. So what keeps you busy now? You don't
No,
have your
I just
fashion.
drum all the time. I don't do anything.
Yeah.
What
And do
keeps
you
me
get
busy?
yeah? Do you get recognized when you sort of like walk around Lancaster?
No, no. And then back in the day, you definitely did, yeah. But yeah, you know,
Yeah.
it's I get recognised by people who know me, friends and family. But, what do I do with my time now? Well, still, I've always sort of worked for myself and done things for myself. So I've done bits of TV and film production, which is always
Oh,
very enjoyable. And I do that with Matthew at the Milltown Brothers, actually. He's got a production company in Manchester called Space Digital. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
when he gets a project in, I generally go and work with him on that, doing production, which is great because we get to hang out and just do a bit of traveling and uh, talk about old times and just have a lot of fun. So that's
So,
good.
what about write music? Do you so like
We,
new material?
New material. We're always Matthew's prolific with his writing. Actually, Matthew is always the songwriter, and the way it would happen, he would sort of bring the ideas to rehearsal, and we would all work together on the tracks and sort of build them up. So it was, a collaborative effort. But
Yeah.
Matthew was always the initial spark on the songs. And I was chatting to him the other day. Actually, we sort of had a night together, and he's still writing 2 or 3 songs a week, which is a
Oh,
lot,
well,
And
yeah,
so we've got new things, we've got new stuff that we're working on in rehearsals. So they will hopefully get recorded and see the light of day one day. But
yeah.
yeah, we're always
Can you
sort of writing. I mean, that's one thing we've never really gone away in a way. We've always been there, getting
tell?
together every now and then and writing.
Yeah,
It's just time. Everyone's doing different things work wise, so it's it's just having the time for everyone to get together and sort of put the
yeah.
songs together, really. But yeah, it's happening. It is happening.
Well, also one of the best things about it is it's still the same five guys as this, right? So it's the
Yeah,
same, still
it
the same.
is. Yeah, it
So
is.
no lineup changes or anything. It's just the
No,
same people.
well, that's a
Yeah.
good thing. I mean, I think it's a big thing. People don't talk about that very often with bands, but the personalities that fit together for a band, it's really quite important because if you can actually be around each other and be creative and uh, just generally get on. There's a lot of traveling
Yeah.
together, and then the actual creative process itself can be, if you don't see eye to eye, that can be difficult. If you don't feel able to tell someone, no, I don't like that, don't play that, or but we fit together really well personality
Yeah.
wise,
Yeah.
and that's a massive thing with bands. As
Yeah.
is, it's a sort of very random fact as to how bands end up staying together, I think, as well, because each individual member of a band has got all their own personal individual influences, so you all grow up listening to different things, and then you all bring that to one table, and then the results that come out are the band's music. And without any of those individual aspects, it wouldn't be the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
We've been very lucky that we've managed to sort of, like, what we do and what we
Yeah.
come up with, people have liked and enjoyed,
Yeah.
and we've always liked and enjoyed each other's company as well. So we're friends as much as anything, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it's the reason we still started getting together again was purely for a social thing, just to see each other, not particularly to make music, and then the music came after that. So it's quite a nice way to do it, to be honest.
Yeah. So you've never fallen out. It's not,
We
you,
haven't. We
it's
honestly genuinely haven't. It's a bit odd, but we actually haven't. I'm sure there's
yeah.
been a few little niggles here and there, and it'd be unnatural for there not to be. But no, we genuinely all just really get on. It's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've still got, I know it's already 3 o'clock, but I've still got like my regular questions all the
Yeah,
time.
don't worry, don't worry.
So, first one is, oh no, sorry, I've got to ask you this because I'm just looking at my script. So, what happened to the Heartbreaks? Where are they now?
Where are they now? Well, the Heartbreaks are 4 of the nicest people I've ever met, actually, and that was I ended up when I was working in London for the management company I was talking about earlier on, and when I was managing Hal, I honestly thought Hal were possibly one of the best musical acts I'd ever seen or I'd ever worked with. And when it didn't quite happen from them, I kind of fell out of love with the music industry, because I was just thinking, well, if that band can't make it, I don't know what I don't know what can. It's one of those sort of, like, and I was kind of like a bit. I moved back up to Lancaster from London, and I was a little bit sort of, I want to do something else now. I've had enough of
Yeah.
music. you take a lot of knocks in music. Actually, you know, even on the management side, in the band side, on the management side, it's a tough industry. You know, the nice side of the industry is fantastic, and the
Yeah.
ups very, very good. You know, we had with the Milltown was we had some amazing highs, but there's a lot of graft that goes into it, and it can be difficult. So I came back to Lancaster, and I was not looking to do anything with music. But as soon as I got back up here, you know, someone knew I'd been involved in management, and sort of said, "There's a band around here called they were called Seaside Riot at the time. Why don't you come down and see them? They're really good." And I was like, "Oh, I don't really want to manage anyone else, you know." I didn't want to do it actually. So I was walking down to this gig at a place called the Yorkshire House in Lancaster, thinking, I hope they're bad. I hope they're not good. And obviously, I went into the gig, and they were
So,
actually really
yeah.
good. They got a lot of talent, and the songwriting was really good, and they looked great, and I couldn't help myself but get involved really. So that was a really nice, fun 4 years, 3 or 4 years that we sort of spent. They put two
Yeah.
albums out, and didn't quite happen for them here in the UK. Probably to do with timing, really, as much as anything.
Um, What
Uh,
year was what year was it? Was it like
their first album came out in 2012. And I
oh
think had it
yeah.
have come out in 2009, 2010, they would have been, you know, they'd have done very, very well.
Yeah.
It was just a little bit slow in coming to, you know, coming to the market. So, but listen, they had some fun. They had, like I said, they had a #1 in Japan, and they had a lot of fun, and they enjoyed it. And yeah, they're all doing different things now. Matt, the singer, is actually the editor of Face magazine now. You know
Oh
the magazine Face.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he's the editor of
Is it
that.
still going?
Yeah,
Is it
it's an
still going?
online magazine now, so it's
Oh
not
yeah, yeah,
in print, but it's an online magazine.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, Matt's doing very well, and Joe's still writing songs, a songwriter. Ryan's still playing guitar. Deeks is still playing in bands as well. Ryan's running his own bar now in Morecambe. So yeah, they're all doing really well for themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah, all
yeah,
good.
yeah. Would you say that it's easier now for musicians? Because you know, if you're active on social media and then you get yourself a following, then instead of like when you did in 1987, that
Yeah.
you know sometimes you play and there's no one there, and there's all like well hardly anyone there, and you know you really had to do hard work. Do you think it's easier that you know because there's online things, you just sort of like upload your music and then if people like it, there's so like word of mouth and things like that, or being
In a
shared.
way, yeah, no, I think in a way you're right, and that platform is there, and there's an easier route to
Yeah,
exposure, and you don't have to rely on labels anymore. I mean, back when the Milltown Brothers started, it was, you know, we literally had to get in a van, hire a van from Salford, van hire, travel down the M6 to London, and just play in London. When we were playing in London, because we were lucky actually, because Matthew's older brother Simon was living in London at the time,
oh, okay,
and
yeah,
he, because he was a bit older, he knew that we would be better off just cutting to the chase, you know, rather than waiting for people to come and see us in Manchester. You know, we
mm-hmm.
were playing around Manchester a lot, the boardwalk and everywhere, but we just started going to London a lot to play, you know, and playing in front of nobody, in the hope that you actually get that sliding doors moment. And that actually happened. Actually, we were playing at a place called the Bull and Gate in Kentish Town, and
Yeah,
Steve
yeah,
Mack, who was you know, the Six Music
oh
journalist,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
DJ now, he was working for the NME at the time, and he'd just been to see a gig at the Forum, which was next door to the Bull and Gate. Wandered into the Bull and Gate, and we were playing there to about 10, 15 people, and he really liked it and wrote a really great review in the NME, and that
yeah,
had a sort of trigger effect for us. So that idea of, you know, getting in a van and going down to London worked. But like, you don't have to do that now. Like you say, with the online thing, you can upload a video to YouTube,
yeah,
and you know, it can happen from there. But then, you know, the audience is very fragmented now in a way, in that, you know, we can all look and follow exactly what we want to watch and hear, and that's good. That's good. But I suppose back in the late 80s, the route to market was really through radio and TV,
Yeah,
and if you could crack that, you were
yeah,
you were getting across to a very, very big audience rather than a fragmented audience. So
yeah,
swings and roundabouts, really.
yeah, yeah,
I'd say that these days it's a lot fairer now, in that you don't have to wait for a label. You don't have to someone in an office to say yes, we'll put some money behind that before we make a go of it. You can go and do it yourself. There's a
yeah.
band from Lancaster actually who I must give a shout out to, called the Lovely Eggs. Have you ever heard of them?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I have heard of the Lovely Eggs. Yeah,
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 so Dave and Holly are from Lancaster, and I know Dave through. He used to run a really great, or helped to run a really great rehearsal place called the Lancaster Musicians Co-op, without which we probably wouldn't have got to where we got to, because in the big cities there are plenty of places like studios and rehearsal rooms, but in places like Lancaster and Colne, there aren't many places. But this place was there, so that as soon as you step out of your bedroom and you want to start playing properly, there's somewhere to go. There's a rehearsal room, and they've just reopened actually this rehearsal room. Well, they're about to reopen, and it's been a really good little launch pad for a lot of bands from Lancaster. But yeah,
yeah,
Dave and Holly in the Lovely Eggs, they're a really great example of doing it yourself without a label. They do everything themselves. They don't have a manager. They sort of make the T-shirts, they make the artwork, they get all the gigs
yeah,
themselves. They're a
yeah,
real little cottage industry, and it's
yeah. I
I've just
should go
got
and see
nothing but
them.
admiration for them.
Yeah, you should go and see them someday because I have heard of them. But
Oh,
so
they're
like I
great.
haven't had the
They're really,
chance.
really good. They're really good. You should definitely go and see them, actually.
Yeah. Do you still go to a lot of gigs?
I
Or,
do, actually. I've got to say, I don't dig and find as much new music as I should do. I mainly listen to Six Music, and I hear a lot of
oh,
great stuff on there. But
yeah.
I must give a shout out to my wife, Jo. She's very good at bringing sort of new music into the house. And she sort of says, she books the tickets and goes, let's go and see this, let's go and see that.
Oh,
So she's much more proactive than me, but
yeah.
she gets me out of the house to see stuff, which is good.
Yeah. Because sometimes it's so like that maybe being a musician, you just concentrate on your music, and so
Mm.
it's sort of like you don't have time to go out and so like see other bands or
No,
something.
I think no. Seeing, especially when we were younger, I think being out and listening to music and seeing music and finding
Yeah,
out what's going on, you've got your finger on the pulse much more when you're younger. You're more in tune to the zeitgeist and what's actually happening.
yeah,
That comes out in your music more. That keeps you at the forefront of things a little bit more. And I remember feeling, even sort of mid-20s, you start moving away from being where it's at in a way, and rightly or wrongly, but
yeah,
it's a natural progression. You get less bothered, actually. You're less bothered about hearing the latest thing, or because you're finding out more what you're into, and you're just happy with that.
yeah,
You
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
know where you are a little bit more. As when you're younger, you're out there hunting, aren't you, for
yeah, yeah,
new experiences and new things.
yeah. Oh,
That's
I
why
totally
it's
agree.
generally better.
Well, I totally agree with that because now, I'm actually late to all these gigging things. So I go to a lot of gigs, but I actually just go mainly to see the bands that I liked when I was young that I
Yeah,
never had a chance to see.
yeah.
So, yeah, but and then if they have
Can I ask you,
spotlight,
Anna, how did you end up setting up the Ask the Drummer podcast? What was it about the drumming?
I
And
just love drummers so much.
okay,
I
where did
wanted
that come from then?
Well, I wanted to be a drummer when I was young,
Okay,
and in school, in primary school or elementary school, we call it in the Philippines.
yeah,
I was part of the Girl Scout things,
okay,
and I was there sort of like in the drumming, sort of like section of it. But it was a bit so like I always think it's not cool to have a snare drum around your neck and you just sort of like beating because I wanted to be like a proper drummer,
Proper drummer,
so
yeah.
like not so like some I don't know what it's called, but I just didn't want that. So I thought, well, no, I've always sort of like fascinated with drummers because I think they're just the coolest member. And every time I go to a gig, I always make sure that I position myself where I can see the drummer,
That's
so I
interesting.
can see how it's all like.
Well, you need to get a drum kit then. You need to get your own
Well,
kit
I
to start
tried.
playing.
Well, I actually did a crash course in drumming, and I
Okay.
tried. But I think it's. I always ask the drummers that it's got to be in you. I think it's in the drummer. It's a natural talent. You know, it's
Yeah,
like you can learn it. You can sort of
yeah,
like teach yourself how to play it, but
yeah.
it's got to be in you.
It is difficult actually. I mean, when you think about what you're doing, you're moving four limbs at a different
Yeah, yeah.
at different time. I actually read somewhere actually. People will laugh at this because of the reputation that drummers have got, but I read somewhere that drumming actually increases your IQ.
Well,
And the reason being is that you're using your four different limbs at different times. You've got a lot of coordination going on, and you're using both sides of your brain apparently to do that.
yeah.
And that apparently is very good for your IQ. Now, I can't,
Yeah,
I
that
can't
is
say
that
that
is
I've
that is
experienced that, but
true. And because I was like, I tried it, and I know I think I'm just very self conscious, and I'm always sort of like more into making myself look cool. But I think
okay,
I'm so like I don't look cool when you're going like this and you with your legs as well.
yeah,
So I'm always just wanting to see drummers. So my drumming instructor, I said to him, so he showed me, he shows me things, and then I said, "Oh, can you do that again, please?" Okay. Oh, I like that. Can you do that again? So I just love watching him.
yeah,
But then it will be times up, and they said, "Oh, it's I've got another, I've got another student coming." So,
yeah,
and then my brother said to me, because my brother used to pick me up. My brother is a drummer. He's good. And he said, "So what did you learn?" I said, "Nothing." so he just said, "You're wasting your money. I'm not taking you there anymore."
oh,
and
okay.
then, and then that's it. I just thought like I'd rather just watch drummers, and I'd
Yeah, you
rather just
don't. I mean, that's very true. Actually, you don't have to do it to enjoy it. You know, you can watch something, can't you, to enjoy it and
yeah,
appreciate something. Yeah, so
yeah,
why
that
not?
is
Yeah,
true.
fair enough.
Yeah. So I've got to go and see you play live someday. Like this year, hopefully. So
Yeah, well, maybe at Lexington or maybe
yeah, yeah,
at some festival somewhere. We'll see.
yep.
Yeah,
Shine on, hopefully. So,
yeah.
but anyway, so the four no, regular questions that I ask. First of all, is when you play the drums, do you twirl? Do you twirl your
No, I
stick?
don't do that. Yeah, I can do it, but I don't generally do it. You know.
You know, you don't sort of like incorporate it with your sort of like when
No,
you're
is that not a
playing.
heavy metal thing? I think that's a heavy metal thing. Oh, hang on. No, no, actually. I tell you who I do like that does that. Chris Sharrock's does that. And he does it really well. And he's a great drummer, actually.
Yeah. Yes.
One of
Yeah.
my favourite bands is the Lars. And Chris Sharrock's played for with the Lars when I saw them play, actually. And one of the times I saw them play. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
really great drummer, really great drummer. We toured
Well,
with the Lars actually. We did a whole tour with them, but he wasn't playing with them at the time. It was Lee Mathers's brother, Neil, that was playing. Also a great drummer actually.
yeah.
They've got a really interesting uh, approach to the drums. Very different actually, different feel, and I love that about them. Yeah, rhythmically, really interesting. Great band.
Yeah. Well, John Power. I saw John Power 2 nights ago, cast in Manchester. So he's
Because when we came off tour with the Lars, as we were touring with the Lars, John was doing a couple of his own songs, and he was doing this was in the Lars set, so he was
yeah.
doing "Follow Me Down" and which other track was it? I've forgotten which other track it was, but it was one that ended up on Cass's album, and
All
he
right.
was singing one of them, and Lee Mathers was singing the other. probably not as enthusiastically as he could have done, but it was obvious that John
They're
had
splitting.
like real talent, And
Yeah.
I think one of Cass's first gigs was playing with us at Colne Municipal Hall. They got in touch, and I think he left the Lars and he set up Cass and sort of called and said, can we do this show with you? And he came over, and I think it was only the first or second gig that Cass had done at the time, and that'll have been about 92, I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
See, that's another thing. They used to do Milltown Brothers and cast.
Oh
Whoa.
yeah, well, I think we'd be playing with them, supporting them. But no, that'd be great. I've seen them a few times since, and they're always good to watch.
Yeah,
Definitely. Great
they're
band.
amazing. I
Yeah,
love cast. And
yeah.
also, talking about drummer Clem Burke. I saw Clem Burke last night. He's
Oh,
brilliant with the.
he's one of my favorite
Oh,
drummers. One of my favorite drummers. Yeah, I've seen
he
him
can
live a few times,
twirl.
and he's brilliant. Yeah, he does all of that, doesn't he? Yeah, he does.
And he can throw a stick as well. He can throw a stick and like
So
catch it.
you like the showmen, don't you? You like the showmen. That's good.
I think it's so like it gives them an extra. So
It
like
does, yeah. Why not? Listen, it's about putting on a show. It's not just about music; it's about a show. So yeah, fair
yeah,
play to them.
yeah. Because that's another thing that I find. Because it's like with the drummers, they're behind, so you hardly see them. So it's always like when at the gig, it's like where can I sort of like position myself? Because sometimes it's like the lead singer is just hiding, sort of like blocking the view of the drummer. And it's like no, I've got to make sure that I can see the drummer.
I was always quite happy to be at the back. Actually, I didn't mind that at all. I was cool with that one.
Well,
Maybe the twirlers, maybe the showman drum, maybe they're frustrated singers really, and they want to be up front.
maybe so like I don't know. Here I stand. Can you sort of like maybe do 112 or like
I'll
here I
do one, yeah, okay.
stand?
And if I drop the drumstick and miss a beat, then I'll blame you.
Yes. Right, well, next question: drumming heroes.
Hmm.
Do you have any?
Well, it'd have to be Ringo, obviously. I'm a huge Beatles fan, and I'm a big fan of drummers that play for the song and not for any. I mean, there are different types of drummers. There are technical drummers, and there are feel drummers, what I call sort of playing with the song drummers. And my sort of preference is definitely the latter. You sort of feel song playing drummers, of which Ringo was just, absolutely brilliant. He's
Yeah.
just, I loved his approach. You couldn't have had any other drummer in that band doing what he was doing. It just wouldn't have been the same, And I think that's testament to him and his ability and
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
suitability to that band. So yeah, Ringo, I'd say. Then I go for Pete DeFreitas, who, as I mentioned earlier, just I sort of cut my teeth playing along to his stuff. Clem Burke, who you mentioned there, as a big Blondie fan,
Yeah.
the opening to Union City Blue is just still one of my favourite bits of music, really. And it's So lots of who else is there?
What about Rennie?
Rennie, I love Rennie. Yeah, I was a big Stone
Yeah.
Roses fan, actually. Massive Stone Roses
Did
fan.
you play? Did you play with the Stone Roses?
We didn't, unfortunately. I saw them play in Lancaster Sugar House, to about 800 people, just when they're on the up, when Made a Stone single came out. And I went to Spike Island. I was at Spike Island, their big show there. Yeah, I was there.
What was that like? Because one of my colleagues at work, Neil, he actually went there, but he just said it's like nothing. I mean, people make a big thing out of Spike Island, but it was actually
no. Well, do you know what? Your work colleague's right. As an event, it was a great thing in that it was the sort of the moment when all the people that were involved in that sort of movement, that vibe of what was happening, that everyone bought a ticket to that show. So we all sort of toddled off there, and but they just had some sound issues on the day. Unfortunately, the location was weird. It was on this massive industrial site in the middle of Widnes, and it was more a case of just the vibe of the people there, really. I mean, the show, it was great seeing them play, and
Yeah.
but it just didn't work out because I think it was a bit windy and the sound blew around, and so you didn't quite get that,
Oh,
real
I see.
sound, which was a shame.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
You can say that you were there. So,
yeah,
like, they
yeah.
made a film about Spike Island.
They
So,
did, yeah, I heard that, yeah, yeah. But no, it was
oh,
good.
wow.
We think we
Yeah.
just finished the Seems to Me tour. We've been touring around. We were always on tour, the Milltown Blues. We just played constantly. Honestly, we toured and toured and toured. And I remember we finished that tour, and then the next day, Spike Island was on. Yeah, so we went to that. Yeah, it was good.
As a band, you went as a band, or so, like,
No, we
just,
just I went as a punter to listen and watch.
oh,
Yeah, I was a fan. I was a big fan actually. I mean, the Lars album and the Stone Roses album, you know, just two of
yeah.
my favorite albums, just absolutely fantastic.
Did you buy the new book about Rennie?
No, I've not read
there's a,
that. No.
there's a new book about him, because I was sort of like hoping that he'll be there, because
Right.
because I don't know if anyone knows where he is right now.
Right.
He's one of those sort of like musicians that is just, no social media presence at all. And I mean, John Squire is actually back. He's got a new album out with Liam
Yeah, he
Gallagher.
has. Yeah. Did you like that? Do you like what you've heard of that?
I've heard the single so far. I'm going to buy the new album soon, but I haven't bought it yet. But the single, I like this single, that
Yeah.
Rainbow, just
Yeah.
another rainbow. Yeah, I thought that was really good.
Yeah. I thought
Um,
well, John Squire's playing in there is good. I enjoyed that. I always like it
yeah,
when you play
yeah,
guitar. There's a few
yeah.
slightly wobbly lyrics in there, I think, wasn't it?
So,
Right in the colours of the rainbow is a little bit suspect, I think. But
well, if you so like, say all the colors of the rainbow as part of your it's just really funny. But yeah, no, I do love John Squire, and I'm glad that he's back. That he's back, so like playing again. So hopefully, I'll go and see him someday. I've seen Manny. I mean, I have met Manny in real life, so that's good. Ian Brown, hoping this year, but we'll see. But yeah, so the next one is disasters. Have you ever had any sort of like drumming disasters, like like hurt
drumming
yourself?
disasters.
Like,
I think the classic one is when was be on a stage where you've not got a carpet down and the bass drum's moving away from you throughout the gig, and you're sort of pulling it back. So nothing where I've fallen off the back of the riser or anything. No, there's not been anything too disastrous. It's a disaster when you're first starting trying to carry your kit around. That's a disaster. I hate that. I mean, I remember when I was going to rehearsal once, and I remember my mum dropping me off actually at a rehearsal, and
yeah.
she couldn't pick me up, and I had to sort of take my kit in 2 bin bags on a bus. And I don't know if you've ever tried to carry a drum kit, but it's like I wouldn't recommend taking it on a bus. Not good, but yeah. So the general pain in the arseness of carrying a drum kit around is a disaster. Yeah, it's not a very sociable instrument.
And they're not, so like none of the other band members so like help you, so like do
Well,
you
no, on this particular occasion, it was very early doors. I think it was only the first band I'd ever been in, and it was just one of those things where I was about 16 and I couldn't get home and I had to take it home. I didn't want to leave my drum kit there at this guy's house, so I decided to take it myself.
you just say yeah.
Probably a bad move, but there you go.
But nowadays, when there are like 3 or 4 bands playing on the same night, so there's like just one drum kit that everybody, like all the
Shares.
drummers will sort of like play. I think it was last Friday night when I went to a gig. So there were 3 bands playing, and I've noticed that the core thing of the drum is just this 2 thing. There's the bass drum,
Yeah.
and then there's so like 2, and the drummers got their own cymbals, and they just add things
Yeah.
in it. And I was so like thinking, oh wow, so that's basically what you just have to carry with you when you go to a gig. You just have to carry like cymbals. which is lighter than if you have to carry the whole drum kit.
Yeah, but usually the trouble with that is if you're the main band and the support bands are using your drum kit, then there's every chance that by the time you get to it, all the skins are knackered. So that there can be snare, tom skins, they can all be not in a good state by the time you get to it. But sometimes that's preferable to moving your drum kit and having to get it put back in place. You see, so you let the support bands use it.
Oh.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's easier if you're just moving around with your cymbals and a snare drum, definitely.
Yeah. It's fascinating because sometimes you see all the setup with loads of things, and I sometimes wonder, did they really play all of those things that that they
A
have?
lot of it's for show, isn't it? I think in the 70s, your prog rock guys had, they had like toms all the way around like that, and then all the way around again, and all the way around again, and then the gong, and I mean, to be fair, that it's visually that's quite funny, isn't it? I suppose if you're looking at that, it's like okay, but in terms of playing, not particularly. You don't need all that. You need a bass
No.
drum, a hi hat, a snare, maybe a floor tom, ride cymbal, and a
Yeah.
crash. You're fine. So you can keep it really simple and still do
Yeah.
what you need to do.
It's just I've actually sort of like seen someone who's so like, because the stage is so high and I was at the front. I see how the bass drum works and how they do it, and definitely I can't do that because I tried to sort of
But
like
you could
copy.
honestly. It's like a moment. It's like learning to. You don't drive, do you, though? But
I don't drive. No, I don't drive.
it's like riding a bike. Then do you ride a bike?
Yeah, a long time ago, but
You're
since
gonna
I
say
fell off
no.
it, when I fell
Okay.
off it, I don't solo.
Uh, no, but it's a little. Once you get it, it's kind of just there, and you've got it. And it's like
Yeah,
you don't have to think about it. Then it's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
it's
there.
the
You can play with feel, and it's just kind of there. It's actually quite nice when you get when the band gets well rehearsed, and you're not thinking about delivering parts, and you're just on autopilot. You can then go on to a sort of higher level of thinking about the music and the way it all sits together, and more subtle things to do with dynamics and things. And like
yeah,
usually when you're touring, you get into the middle of a tour, the level of the show starts going up and up and up, and it's just because you're so well sort of
yeah.
grooved into the songs and the rehearsals and things that you don't have to think about what you're doing. You can start thinking about slightly more higher aspects of it. Yeah, that's a good place to get to when you're touring.
Is it something like, because like we come back last night, I've noticed that sometimes he just goes like this and he's not even looking. You just sort of like playing and go like this, and I was sort of like thinking, is that because you know the song that much, or you because you don't have? It looks like he's not even concentrating anymore. Right, welcome back. We are live again. Sorry about that, Nian.
No problem.
But yeah, I think I was just sort of like talking too much, anyways. Which made me when I was sort of like restarting my computer, it sort of like made me remember what I started after drummer because during lockdown,
Yeah,
everybody was so like doing all these podcasts and online
yeah.
shows because we can't go, we couldn't go out and things like that. And I remember sort of like saying, how come they're always asking just the singers or maybe the guitarists and
That's a good
stuff?
reason. That's a good reason.
Yeah. So I
Drummers
thought,
Union.
well, I thought, what about the drummers? And I think someone sort of like someone said, no one wants no one wants to know about the drummers, but I do want to know more about the drummers, what they like, and their drumming career and their life. And so I thought, well, a friend said, why don't you start it? And so I thought, well, okay, I'm not really good at this, but okay, I will start it. I will do
Good for
so.
you. Good for you.
So luckily, I mean, we're in August. It will be 3 years since I started it. So I'm really glad that
Brilliant. You've had some
it's
great
still
people on there as well, haven't you? Some really great people.
yeah, well, I'm grateful to drummers like yourself, for agreeing to take part and be on Ask the Drummer.
Who would your dream drummer be to interview
Oh
then?
my God. Rennie.
Who's the one that you haven't got yet that you just praying that they do it one day?
I'm hoping Rennie would say
Yeah,
yes, but
yeah.
I don't know where he is.
No, I'd like to hear an interview with Rennie. Actually, I don't. Does he do interviews? I don't know if
I
he's ever.
don't think so. I mean,
No.
I was so like approached by the author of the Rennie book. Um, he'd like to sort of like go and ask the drummer, but it was sort of like, go away from the theme of what it's about because you want to ask the drummer and not really the author who wrote the book about the drummer.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but I'm sure I'm sure he's got lots of stories to tell about Rennie. But it would be really nice if Rennie would come on ask the drummer himself. So,
What was? Did you say you'd read the book then?
I haven't bought a copy of it, but it's like I think it's more so like people's like experiences, and so there's more so like the fans
Oh, okay.
side of Rennie. But I'm sure he knows a lot about Rennie as well. But I just thought, it's not gonna be, it's not gonna fall for ask the drummer. I mean, I wouldn't mind like percussionists, even if they're not like proper, like I wouldn't say proper, but even if they're not drummer, but they consider themselves percussionists, I wouldn't mind asking them and ask the drummer as well.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, and drum tacks. I mean, drum tacks. We used to be drummers. So
Yeah,
I'd like
that's a
to
good
have them on
shout.
the
Yeah,
show.
they'll have some stories. They definitely have some
Yeah,
stories.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, hopefully Rennie someday.
Good.
We'll
Good.
see.
Well, good luck with
Because
that. I hope he says yes.
yeah, well, I had John Moss because John Moss is like my
I
first
saw that.
ever
Yeah, I
drummer
saw it.
crush. So when I had my 100th episode, I thought, please say yes, and thankfully he did. So, but anyways, I've still got one last question
Okay.
because we were talking about disasters, and you don't really, you never really had disasters or anything. But last one is advice to aspiring drummers or maybe musicians in general.
Ah, be resilient, I suppose, and accept. I think it's a lesson for anything actually. Doing anything in life, whether it's you've got to accept failure as part of the journey. Most successful people have failed at whatever they're doing for a period of time, and don't let that put you off. Because
Yeah, yeah,
when you fail, if you're not failing, you're not doing anything, basically. So
yeah,
you've got to get out there, you've got to fail, and you've got to learn from failures, and you've got to use those, and then it makes the taste of success even more sweet. When you finally get there. Too many people sort of give up too soon, I think. And I think you'd find with most bands that have. I mean, some people are just absolutely born with talent, and they were going to be successful, whatever. But
yeah,
that's a very, very low percentage of people. I mean, most people go through a period of, like I said earlier, of being not very good at what they're doing. So the Beatles used to be in a band that were called Johnny and the Moondogs first, and you can pretty much guarantee that they'll have been not very good at some point in their trajectory. So even the Beatles weren't very good at one point, and that ended up being the greatest band that have ever lived. So you've got to accept that you're going to get better, and take your failures on the chin, and
yeah,
keep going.
yeah. Because I think online there was some letters that were, it was shared that I think Bono was rejected as well or something like. And look at you two now.
Oh,
It's like,
absolutely. I mean, it's just literally, it's part of the deal. It's
yeah,
part of
yeah,
it is you're going to get told no a lot in the music industry, particularly anything that's got this sort of the sort of the fruits of success on the level of the music industry is going to be hard to get into. And all of those industries, the TV, film
yeah,
industry, they're hard to get into. And you've got
yeah,
to be the people that usually make it are usually they've got an element of resilience that has helped them get there. I mean,
yeah,
I remember with the Milltown brothers, you have a lot of painful, difficult moments where literally, I told you, we were touring around the country constantly, playing to nobody, sleeping on floors. And, when you're young enough to sort of deal with that, that's fine. And then one day you suddenly find. I remember being getting off the plane at JFK in New York for the first time, and being in a van being driven into Manhattan, and you see the skyline of New York, and you think, "Wow, how did we get here?" You know this, and you're going into New York, and you're playing at
Yeah.
CBeebies, you know, famous venues, and it's you think, how's this happened? And it was the same. I remember being on the rooftop of the Hyatt Hotel in on Sunset Strip in LA. You know, they used to call it, it's the rock and roll hotel there. They used to call it the Riot. There's a swimming pool on the roof, and
Yeah.
sitting there with the beer and looking around that, you're there with your friends, and you're thinking, and we were playing a gig later that night at the Whiskey A Go Go, another famous venue, and you just, all that graft and all that hard work and all that failure was
Yeah.
worthwhile. So it's keep your eyes on the prize.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that Sunset Strip. So like I don't know what's it called, that hotel, but apparently it's like a really famous one. And
Chateau Marmont. There's the Chateau Marmont, which is where the
well, the
door
one
where
with
John
the,
Belushi died.
yeah, well, Susie Ronson, again, I saw her last night in this Lust for Life tour that's sort of like going. So before Clem Burke and the band, so Susie Ronson was sort of like telling us about how she met Iggy Pop. And then I think it was in this hotel, and then so she dyed Iggy Pop's hair blue or something, and then told him not to go in the swimming pool. But of course he did, and then the swimming pool so like just turned blue. The water in the swimming pool turned blue or something like that. But yeah, it just reminded me of that when you were talking about sort of like Sunset Strip.
When we were in that hotel, the Hyatt Hotel in, we were talking to the barman. And he let slip that Little Richard was living at the hotel, and he wouldn't tell us. Little Richard had a suite on one floor. He had one floor to himself, and the barman wouldn't tell us which floor he was on or what room number or anything. But we kept buying the barman drinks, and then eventually he told us. And so we went straight up to the room and sort of knocked on the door, and his Little Richard's assistant came to the door and sort of said, he's not here. And we said, yeah, he's here, we know he's here, we're just a little band from the north of England, we'd just love to say hello. And anyway, the guy went away after saying no a couple of times. He went away, and then eventually Little Richard's sort of head popped round the door, and he had this really lovely little chat with us, and asked us where we were from, and he said, "Oh, is that near Liverpool?" And then we had this chat about the Beatles, and it was just a great moment.
Oh wow! I mean, that's something you do when you're young, isn't it? I mean, it's like
you're braver, yeah.
Brave.
Definitely a lot braver, yeah, definitely. I wouldn't have done that now. Well, I might have done actually.
Yeah. And is it true that in America they love your accent and things? They love sort of like.
Well, they do actually. I mean, it's like that anywhere, isn't it? You like something that's different, don't you? So yeah,
Yeah.
I think English accents, Scottish accents, Irish accents go down well over there, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thank you so much. I mean, I'm going to sort of like edit it, so it'll be like two. It's like one, so like video when I upload it on YouTube later today. But thank you very, very much, Nian, for saying yes to Ask the Job. I really enjoyed chatting to you about it. But before I let you go, do you want to just sort of like tell everyone watching about the gigs on the 3rd of May? It's all like in Rossendale. And
the best place to look for all the updates on that is the Facebook page or Twitter or Instagram, whichever. Just look for the Milltown Brothers on there, and all the dates are on there. But I think the next two shows are May. I've not got it in front of me. Is it May the
3rd? Rossendale, yeah.
May the 3rd in is it Rottenstall?
Rottenstall. Yeah. No, Rossendale.
And then the Lexington in London on November the 2nd, again is a Saturday. I thank you so
And
much for having me on, Anna. It's been lovely chatting to
no,
you. I
no,
really
it's
enjoyed
me
it.
really. I should thank you for saying yes to it. And I'm really, I'm going to see you and Milton Brothers this year, definitely.
Good, good. Well, it'd be nice to meet you in person, definitely.
Yeah, enjoy. I'm not. I usually say enjoy the rest of the week. No, the rest of the weekend, but it's actually Monday, so it's the beginning of the week.
But the whole
So
week ahead of us.
have a great week.
You too. You
Yeah,
too.
hope to see you soon. Yeah,
All right.
thank you so
Lovely.
much, Nia.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Take
Oh, thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us as well. Because I'm really sorry about that glitch. We normally it hasn't happened for a while now, but sometimes it does. I think it's just me, so like getting all excited about talking to Nian about everything, his life and everything about that. So I just really love drummers so much. I love finding out more about them. So yeah, thank you all so much. Next week we're gonna be back on Sunday again, and we're going to Paris because my guest next week is from there, from France. So I hope you see us again or come and join us again next week. Do keep an eye out for the guest announcement post for that. But for now, have a great week, everyone. And thank you all so much for joining us live. As always, love music, love life, and love, love, love drummers. They're absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Nian Brindle. And I'll see you all next week. Bye for now. Bye.